Welcome to the deep dive. Okay, so today we are opening with a statement that has, I think, really shaken the foundations of personal finance for millions of people.
Ah,
And it's this. Everything you have been told about money is potentially a lie.
it's a huge statement. And that's why today we're diving deep into Robert Kiyosaki's Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
Yeah.
This thing, it's not really just a book. It's more like a philosophical fork in the road.
Right.
It asks you to question pretty much the entire structure of the middle-class agreement. He frames it as a rebel's guide to financial independence.
And the whole philosophy, it's built on this incredible, almost painful contrast between two central figures. You have the poor dad,
Right.
that's Kiyosaki's biological father, and this guy, he was the embodiment of academic success, a PhD, highly respected, a government job. He followed every single rule.
He played the game exactly as he was told to play it. And, spoiler alert, he died broke and bitter, left behind a messy financial legacy.
Then you have the rich dad.
The rich dad.
Yeah.
This was his best friend's father.
Oh.
And this man never even finished high school. An 8th grade dropout.
No credentials.
None. But he focused obsessively on financial literacy. He hacked the system. And he became one of the wealthiest entrepreneurs in Hawaii.
So the lesson is just crystal clear from page 1. Academic success and financial success are, they're completely separate things.
You're different games.
Exactly. So our mission today is to unpack the 3 biggest concepts that Kiyosaki argues are basically scams designed to keep people poor, no matter how big their paycheck is.
We're going after the rat race, the great house lie, and the education trap.
Okay, let's start with the rat race. I think we all kind of know the feeling, the Sunday scaries, the grind. But Kiyosaki defines it as more of an emotional trap.
Yeah, it's a trap fueled by 2 core emotions, fear and greed.
How so?
Well, people are motivated by the fear of not having money. So they cling to a job for that, feeling of security from the paycheck.
Which he says is just a short-term solution.
A very short-term solution. Because as soon as they get that money, greed kicks in. And that leads to status purchases. The new car, the bigger house, the credit card debt.
Which then requires them to work even harder just to pay for all the new junk.
And that's the cycle. You earn more, you spend more, your expenses balloon, and suddenly you're running faster on the hamster wheel, but not going anywhere.
It's that core distinction he makes. Poor dad works for money. Rich dad makes money work for them.
And this is where, we have to address the obvious criticism. Because someone listening right now is thinking, I can't just quit my job. Poor dad's advice. Find a safe, secure job with good benefits. That sounds responsible, right?
It sounds like what every parent tells their kid. Stability is what you want.
Of course. But Rich Dad says that stability, that cushion, it's actually a cage. He defines JOB as an acronym for just over broke.
Because you're selling the only finite resource you have.
Your time. You're selling at wholesale. And worse, you're totally dependent on a single income stream, which is, the absolute opposite of security.
And that dependency, that's what feeds into what he calls the tax scam.
Right. This isn't some conspiracy theory. It's just,
Yeah.
It's literally how the law is written. The employee is financially penalized by the government.
Penalized how? Just by the order they do things.
By the order of operations, exactly. When you're an employee, you earn your salary. And the government immediately takes its cut, right? 30, maybe 40%, right off the top.
Before you even see it.
Before you touch it, you are taxed at the source. Then you take what's left over, the post-tax money, and you pay your mortgage, your car payment, all your liabilities.
So you get paid, then taxed, then you spend what's left.
Precisely. Now, look at the entrepreneur, the business owner. They earn income, but then they get to spend on business expenses before they're taxed.
So they're using pre-tax dollars.
Pre-tax dollars. Their car, their travel, their phone bill, sometimes even their meals, it's all paid for before the government calculates what's left over to be taxed.
So the employee is the fuel. The employee is paying the bulk of the taxes to run the system, while the rich are using the tax code as like a shield.
It's the biggest shield there is. And if you're only chasing a bigger paycheck, you're actually just optimizing for maximum taxation. You're volunteering to be the fuel.
Wow. Okay, and that pressure, that 9-to-5 pressure, it feeds directly into the next big lie, doesn't it? The thing that everyone is told is the absolute cornerstone of a responsible adult life.
Oh, yeah. We need to strap in for this one.
Yeah.
Because his view on owning your own home it's provocative.
It flies in the face of everything.
It really does. But the entire argument rests on one golden rule. And he says you must know the difference between an asset and a liability.
And I thought I did. I thought an asset was anything valuable you own, like, a car or a painting.
That's the normal definition, the academic one. But Rich Dad uses the only definition that actually matters for financial freedom. It's all about cash flow.
Okay, so what's the definition?
Super simple. An asset puts money in your pocket. A liability takes money out of your pocket, period.
So if my house is sitting there, maybe it's appreciating a little on paper, but every single month, money is flowing out of my bank account to pay for it.
Then it's a liability.
It's a liability.
It's a liability. Now, I do want to bring in the counter-argument here, because for a lot of middle-class families, the home acts as a kind of forced savings account.
Right. You're paying down the principal, building equity.
Exactly. And eventually you have this big chunk of equity you never would have saved otherwise. Isn't that a good thing?
It's a compelling point because most people feel that stability, but Rich Dad just forces you to look at the numbers, at the cash flow, the constant drain.
Let's break down those drains because they never stop.
Okay, first up, the mortgage.
The mortgage is an asset for the bank, not for you. You spend the first 10, 15 years paying almost pure interest. The bank gets all their profit up front.
Then you have property taxes,
which Kiyosaki calls rent you pay to the government. If you stop paying it, what happens?
They take the house.
They take the house. You never truly own it. And then there's the big one, the maintenance drain.
Ugh, the stuff that always breaks. Insurance, utilities, mowing the lawn, and then, the $20,000 roof that fails in a storm.
Or the water heater that explodes on a holiday weekend.
Mm-hmm.
It's financial sponge. It is constantly absorbing your cash.
And that sponge, it limits your freedom. It ties you to that high-paying job because you're terrified of losing the house.
The house owns you, not the other way around.
Yeah.
He says focusing on a house's potential appreciation in the future while you are bleeding cash today is a gambler's mindset.
So if the house is a liability, what do the rich actually buy? What are real assets under this cash flow definition?
Real assets are systems that work for you. First and foremost, rental real estate, where the tenant's rent covers all the costs, the mortgage, taxes, repairs, and pays you a surplus every month.
So that puts money in your pocket.
Puts money in your pocket. Second, dividend stocks and bonds. You get paid just for owning them. Third, intellectual property. Things like book royalties or patents. They generate income while you sleep.
So the rich buy things that generate income streams, and that frees them from having to trade their time for money.
And the middle class buys things that look impressive, but are actually just liabilities that drain their resources.
He does offer a way to reconcile this, though, right? He's not saying never own a home.
He's not. He gives a very clear rule. If you want to own your own home, great. But first, build up your asset column so that it generates enough cash flow to cover 100% of the mortgage, the taxes, and the maintenance.
So your assets buy the liability for you.
Exactly. That way, the house is a luxury you can afford, not a liability that threatens your survival.
That one rule, that if-then statement, it really is the whole rich dad mindset. But it begs that question we started with.
Mm-hmm.
If this cash flow idea is so basic, so fundamental to wealth, why did we spend 12 years in school learning the capital of North Dakota, but not how to read a financial statement?
It is an oversight so massive, it just feels intentional, doesn't it? I mean, I can probably still find my old geometry notes somewhere, but I couldn't tell you the first thing about a corporate balance sheet.
And Kiyosaki's argument is that this oversight is intentional. The system was never, ever designed to make you financially free.
He traces it all the way back to the Prussian education system.
Mm-hmm.
And that model was designed for one purpose, to create obedient, rule-following soldiers and factory workers for the industrial age.
Oh, wow.
The system needs employees. It needs consumers.
Yeah.
And it absolutely needs people who will pay their taxes without asking too many questions.
The idea that the main goal of our school system is just to create cogs for a bigger machine and not independent thinkers who actually understand how the machine is funded, that's genuinely shocking.
And it just highlights the difference between the two dads. Poor dad valued academic enlightenment. He always said, the love of money is the root of all evil.
And he trusted his PhD. He trusted the system.
He did. While Rich Dad said, no, the lack of money is the root of all evil. He saw that school taught Poor Dad how to be an excellent employee, but it never taught him how to build the business or understand the laws that protect wealth.
That's the difference he talks about between academic IQ and financial IQ.
Yes. You can be a genius. You can earn a huge salary. Think of a pro athlete or a top surgeon. But if you don't have financial IQ, all that income is just fuel for a bigger bonfire of liabilities
We see it all the time. Lottery winners, athletes, they go bankrupt.
because they can't manage cash flow, they don't understand debt, they don't know the rules of the game.
And the tax code just proves this bias, right? The school system trains you to be a specialist, while Rich Dad said you need to be a generalist. You need to know a little about accounting, sales, law.
And look at how that plays out. The employee, trained by the system, earns money, gets taxed on it, and then spends what's left. The rich person, using a corporation, earns money, spends it on expenses, and only then gets taxed on what remains.
They use the tax code as a tool, which is something school never taught us. We were taught that mistakes are bad. You get an F.
Right, you get punished for mistakes.
Mm.
And that fear of failure is so damaging. In the real world of money, the most powerful lessons come from mistakes, from taking a calculated risk and having it fail.
Rich people know they have to lose sometimes to learn how to win.
But poor people are so terrified of failure that they just play it safe. They never even take the financial test. And in the end, they fail by default, just by not playing.
Okay, so if you've absorbed all this, your perspective has probably shifted. But Kiyosaki doesn't just point out problems, he offers a solution. It starts with a simple mantra: mind your own business.
Which does not mean start a company. It means you have to separate your profession, the thing you do to pay the bills, whether you're a teacher or a plumber, from your business. Your business is your asset column.
So stop spending all your energy making your boss rich or the bank rich and start building systems that make you rich.
That's the core idea.
So let's get really practical for a minute. For anyone listening, what are the immediate, actionable steps you can take from this philosophy?
Okay, step one. Immediately, tonight, start prioritizing your financial education. The greatest asset you have is your mind. Learn accounting, learn sales, read about tax law.
Step 2. When you get your next paycheck, practice the rule of pay yourself first. Before you paid a mortgage, before the credit card bill, put money into your asset column.
And he argues that if you run short on cash for bills, let that pressure from creditors force you to get smarter, to find creative ways to generate more income. Do not run your savings to pay your liabilities.
Use pressure to grow your financial IQ.
Exactly. And step 3. If you take a job, work to learn, not just to earn. Take a job specifically to master a skill like sales or systems management, because those skills will help you build your asset column long after the paycheck is gone.
I think his philosophy is so powerful because it just demands accountability. It strips away all the excuses, that you need a high salary or you need to get lucky.
It all comes down to a mindset shift. When faced with something they want, the poor dad says, "I can't afford it." And that phrase, it just shuts down your brain.
It's an endpoint.
It's an endpoint.
Yeah.
But the rich dad asks a different question. He asks, how can I afford it?
Which forces your brain to work.
It forces creation. It forces hustle. It opens up possibilities.
The knowledge is all here. The path is laid out. The rat race, as frustrating as it feels, it's voluntary. The door really is unlocked.
Kiyosaki's ultimate rebellion is just taking this knowledge and then immediately acting on it.
At the end of the day, he says your poverty is your own fault. And that's harsh, but it's also empowering. It means the solution is also in your hands.
The wealth gap is really just an information gap. So rebel against the financial path they plan for you.